What's up, YouTube? It's Brandon Long, host of the Go Long podcast. Today I'm starting a new channel called Go Long Sports, so make sure you guys like and subscribe to the content. It's going to be based off action going on in the NBA, NFL offseason, also during the season, some MLB, and definitely the UFC. Okay, so for this video, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 teams going into next season of the NBA in the Western Conference. So, at number 1, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it because I hate these niggas and I hate light-skinned niggas. But the Golden State Warriors. And the reason why I picked the Golden State Warriors as the number 1 team going into next year is, one, they just won the title, even though in my opinion it was spoon-fed. It was about as spoon-fed as the Lakers bubble title, but I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I ain't gonna come here biased. I'm gonna give you the cold hard facts. My heart would tell me the Lakers, but my head's telling me the Golden State Warriors. You got Steph Curry still in his prime, looks like he's not slowing down. Klay Thompson, second year coming off the ACL and Achilles injury, so he's only going to get better back into true form. And you see that Klay at 75%, they were still able to go out there and win the title pretty easy, which is unacceptable. We'll get into the semantics. Draymond, he looked like he got a couple. He old Greyhound, but he talking crazy, talking about 3 titles in the next 4 years. But they're definitely the front runner going into next year. You got Jordan Poole, who's unguardable. Honestly, like I could have a whole segment about the development of his game and just how much of an unstoppable offensive force that kid is. You got Kuminga. You got all the role players coming back. Lost Otto Porter. Who the fuck is Otto Porter? Andrew Wiggins fits well into their system. He's better than Harrison Barnes. And a big X factor going into their next season. I was real low on this guy after his rookie year, but after watching some of the tape back again, looking at just his ability, looking at his size, his talent, it's undeniable. James Wiseman, this kid, 7'1", probably about 250 pounds. He can run like a gazelle. He can handle the ball well enough. He can shoot the ball well enough. He's not really a good shooter, but he'll shoot it. He'll make it if you dare him to. But this kid, man, he's if he would have played in the 50s, he'd be Wilt Chamberlain. That's the type of ability he has. So they got that monster coming back. So that they're not going anywhere. They're going to be tough to beat. Second, and this may surprise you guys, and I'm going to say this is honestly blasphemous being like the diehard Laker fan that I am. You see, I got LeBron James back here. There's about 6 LeBron James behind me, the GOAT. But the Los Angeles Clippers. Yes, I said it, the Clippers. The Clippers are my second contender. You got Kawhi Leonard coming back, who at his best is a top 3 player in the NBA. On top 4, because you got to put Steph Curry in there now. Steph, LeBron, KD, Kawhi, all entertain. Do it however you want. Giannis is in there. But Kawhi, let's say that he's 80% next year. 80% Kawhi Leonard is still a top 6, top 7 player. You got Paul George, who at his peak was a top 5, top 6 small forward all time. Don't argue me on this. I know what I'm talking about. And also you got Reggie Jackson. They're like their whole squad. They play tough. You got Luke Kennard, he can shoot. The John Wall pickup. Them being second on my list has nothing to do with the John Wall pickup. I don't expect John Wall to play 25 games next season. The niggas played 25 games in the past 4 years, and he took a $2 pay cut. But they got those 2 guys coming back, and you got a chance anytime you got Kawhi Leonard and Paul George on the same team. And plus, the West really hasn't shown me anything too promising that I think that's better than those 2 guys on that team, and most importantly, with that coach. Ty Lue, best coach in the NBA. And you can ask a lot of respected sources around the league, and without hesitation, they'll tell you that Ty Lue's the best coach in the NBA. My third team, the guys who I had making it to the finals this year but came short due to injury, the Memphis Grizzlies. They got young guys who can run. They let the brothers run over there. Got John Morant, who's a budding superstar, who if I'm the Grizzlies, I'm concerned a little bit about his knee. I feel like they could work through that because they just got so much young talent over there, and they're not at the point yet where a lot of those after next year we'll really see. But going into this season, like when like young teams have promising like young up and coming stars to superstars, and those guys are going to get paid, but there's just not enough money to pay everyone. This next season, they're still going to have John Morant problem. They're still going to have Desmond Bane, who any team in the league would take Desmond Bane on their squad. I don't care what you say. He can flat out play. He had some back injuries this playoffs, which kind of like messed him up. Dylan Brooks can play. He was doing well the year before. Last year, he dealt with injuries pretty much the whole entire season. Kind of got into his stride in the playoffs. He played well through the transgender allegations. That kudos to you, Dylan Brooks. I would have been throwing up bricks too if niggas was talking about I was with a transgender. And then you also got a guy who I'm real high on, who has potential to be a top 5 big man in the league, Jaren Jackson. Jaren Jackson Jr., he's 6'11", 7 foot, can shoot the three, shoots it better than Anthony Davis, has underrated off the playmaking skills. He could get a shot off the dribble. I think what he could work on is his low post game. I feel like with the right work and the right coach, he could be a bucket down low just because of his athletic ability, his size, and he's an issue. I love his game, but most importantly, led the league in block shots this year. That doesn't grow on trees. 6'11", agile, can shoot, can defend damn near 1 through 5. Does not grow on trees. They lost a few key young guys like Melton in the offseason, but they got so much young talent that they could just plug and play. I also think that Kenny Lofton Jr. on their summer league team, Lil Thickums, I think that he could come in and really add to like what their motto is: young, tough, run. Because that dude could ball. I think he could fit into that rotation, get about 10 minutes a game. Steven Adams, he's the same everywhere. You know what you get with Steven Adams. So that's my third team. Now the fourth and fifth, this is where it kind of got tough for me because I don't know what Denver's going to look like. I don't know if Jamal Murray's going to come back at all. Out of the Pelicans, they're coming up. They're going to be a real issue for somebody next year, as I showed you. The Phoenix Suns, that was also another tough one, but I really don't see Chris Paul coming back. I don't see Chris Paul getting better. He kind of wore down at the end of this year. It was a lot like you're starting to see the signs of Chris Paul because it's hard for him to do it night in and night out. Like when he's on, you damn near take Chris Paul over just about any other point guard in the league when he's on. But you can't depend on a 6'38" man to carry the weight of a championship team. That's just asking too much, unless your name's LeBron James, and there's only one LeBron James. So fourth, I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks as the fourth contender in the Western Conference going into next year. Luka is arguably a top 3, top 5 player in the NBA, and he's only going to get better. Hopefully, he's playing right now in Serbia, wherever the hell he's from. He playing somewhere. He balling out. So the biggest thing with him is that Dallas got off to a real slow start last year because Luka likes to come in out of shape, and that's a big issue, especially like when it comes down to like seeding and home court advantage. Like usually the teams that get home court advantage in the NBA playoffs are the ones who get to a hot start. So I feel like he's going to be motivated more than ever, especially after what he saw that they could do last year with everything they had going on, the Porzingis trade, his injuries, him coming out of shape. They were still able to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Nobody expected that. Nobody. I think the only person that had the Dallas Mavericks making it that far was Nick Wright, and he be out there sometimes, but I like Nick. Shout out Nick Wright. They also picked up Christian Wood, who I think is a underrated big man. Like this dude, he's long. He can block shots. He can shoot the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. He can finish. He's like him playing with Luke. The one of the glaring weaknesses that the Mavericks had was a big man who was a threat on offense, and their big man was Dwight Powell, who if it's not a layup or a dunk, he's not even looking at the basket. And it's anybody who's played basketball knows that the easiest person to guard is somebody who's not looking for their own shot. If you catch the ball past 5 feet and you start looking around, you don't even look at the basket. I'll take that's a win for the other team. I don't care. Dwight Powell, he's athletic. He gets somewhat, I guess, defend, but he's kind of undersized even at that position to not be. He plays like he's 7'5" and he's like 6'9", 6'10", if that. So he's really not a threat. So Christian Wood is going to give him another. It's going to open up that offense a lot, especially with Tim Hardaway Jr. coming back. They lost Jalen Brunson, but with as ball dominant as Luka Doncic is, it's impossible to ask Jalen Brunson to average 22 and 8 a night with Luka Doncic. There's going to be some nights you get 10 shots, nigga. Deal with it. So I'm happy for him getting his money with the Knicks, but Luka's just one of those guys. You look back in NBA history, you look at his stats over his career up to what's been 4 or 5 years. The only names that compare is guys like LeBron, Jordan, Larry Bird, shit like that. So he's one of them all-time greats. You can't ask Jalen Brunson to. What can you do, man? The game is the game. Fifth and final contender in my top 5 for the Western Conference next year. Not the Phoenix Suns. Not the New Orleans Pelicans. Not the Denver Nuggets. But this nigga right here. This nigga right here behind me. LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan, but like I said, I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to be biased. And the problem with the Lakers last year, there was a couple issues. The biggest issue was the age. They was too old. They had niggas that should be playing in the big three. They might as well had Joe Johnson and Steven Jackson out there. They got big three niggas and they're asking them to really play contributing minutes to a championship team, which is impossible. It's never happened. You're never gonna see it happen. You can't ask multiple Trevor Ariza, Avery Bradley, Carmelo Anthony. I love Carmelo, but if you're dependent on 15 a night from Carmelo Anthony, that's going to get you into the damn near lottery every year at this age. And he's damn near got to be like play the Jared Dudley role on your team. Come in, hit threes, and we up. But if I'm dependent, Melo he still got some. I'm not going to say he got left in the tank, but he can't guard anybody. And if he's not making shots, he's fucking useless. They just call it what it is. I love Melo. Who doesn't? The Lakers love this shit. Every time Melo hit a three, I was in there too, fucking damn near punching a hole in my head. But you're just asking too much out of Melo at this stage and age in his career to seriously contribute to a championship team. It's just not going to happen. It's not realistic. Now other than the age, the second biggest problem with the Lakers, and if you've been listening to Twitter, you would think that the first problem is Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna tell you, Russell Westbrook was not the problem. He didn't play too well at times, but the most important thing, and you look at the Golden State Warriors. They've been running the tables damn near for the past 8 years. Let's say 8 to 10 years. What do they have that your favorite team does not have? Continuity. They got them interchangeable pieces. You got guys like Wiggins coming in. You got guys like Jordan Poole coming in out of nowhere. It looks nice. But when you look at the Golden State Warriors, you look 2014, 2015, you pause any game at any point. You know who's on that floor? Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. They got that continuity. They even got Iguodala old ass still scooting along, dragging his ass on the sideline. So continuity is the biggest thing in basketball, and that's something that the Lakers lacked. Their top 3 guys, as far as Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, those guys, I haven't looked at the exact number, but I can tell you based off eye test, I watched every game this year. Those 3 guys weren't on the court at the same time for more than 25 games this year, and that's me being generous. So you can't ask a team to go out there and win 50, 60 games if we out there playing with 50, 60 different lineups. The thing about when Steph Curry looks at Klay Thompson, looks at Draymond, they ain't got to say nothing. You could tape them niggas' mouth shut on the court, and he's going to know what he does, and he's going to know what he does. And that's the most important thing. You got to have that trust on the basketball court. So the 2 reasons that the Lakers sucked last year was, one, they was too damn old. They fixed a lot in the offseason, getting some young wing pieces. I also like Number 21 on Summer League. I'm sorry. He's some white guy. I don't know if he's white or European. Same shit. But he can shoot the ball. He can shoot, and the Lakers can use him. We'll see that if the lights get too big for him playing for the Lakers, because you see like the guys who shoot 40% come to the Lakers, especially playing with LeBron James, and then they shoot 17%. I like him, and I also like Scottie Pippen Jr. Scottie Pippen Jr., I want him to get minutes next year, but I don't know if it all depends on Kendrick Nunn. My ranking has nothing to do with the Kyrie Irving trade. I'm talking as if that's not going to happen. I've basically given up on it at this point. We can win the championship. The Lakers can win the championship with Russell Westbrook at point guard. If you got him, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James on the court night in, night out, those guys playing with continuity. You got the young guys who can guard. You got another big pickup was Thomas Bryant. That's a tough night out. If you walking on the court and you see on the other side, you see Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, I don't give a fuck what the problem is. That's a tough night out. That's not just an easy dub for anybody. I don't give a. Those are 3 first ballot Hall of Famers still in their prime. Yes, LeBron James at 37 is still in his prime. I don't know. Shit, you might be shaking your head, but hey, I don't know either. What can you do? So I feel like the Lakers. With all that said, the Lakers got a real shot at doing something special next year, and especially since that they're going to be underestimated. One thing, like being a Laker fan, all the Lakers fans know that when you play the 2-26 Minnesota Timberwolves back in the day, the 10-47 Kings, when they play the Lakers, they was going to play like the fucking 96 Bulls just because they play in the Lakers. They know it's on primetime television. The rims at Staples Center is like them easy soft rims at Rancho High School. So I feel like them coming in almost as an underdog role, especially everyone thinking Westbrook sucks, they're going to be able to catch a couple teams napping this year, especially like the teams they should beat. The Lakers' problem last year was that they weren't beating the teams that they should beat. And if you know basketball, you know that championship teams, one thing they do is take care of business. They beat the teams they supposed to beat. They ain't going to lose to Sacramento. You're not going to lose to a shitty Portland team without Dame Lillard. You're not going to lose to OKC in a total rebuild. That just doesn't happen to championship teams. So if the Lakers can get continuity, which is consistent play out of Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Russell Westbrook on the court at the same time for them to all actually get a feel of what their role is, not me and you playing 10 games, I'm out another 15, then me and you playing. Too much to overcome. So let me break this back down again. Top 5 contenders for the West. Number 1, Golden State Warriors. Number 2, the Los Angeles Clippers. Number 3, Memphis Grizzlies. Number 4, Dallas Mavericks. Number 5, Los Angeles Lakers. Read in a weep. Everybody else, your team not in it. Sorry. Tell them niggas get better. What it is. Peace.